Hello and welcome to the Great Minds Together podcast,
where we explore neurodiversity, mental health, inclusive practice and the lived experiences that drive positive change.
Each episode we speak with inspiring young people, parents, professionals and change makers who are shaping the world of neurodiversity, SEND policies and everything in between.
Whether you're a parent, practitioner, young person or simply passionate about inclusion,
you're in the right place.
So, with that being said,
let's get into today's conversation.
Hi everybody, my name is Michelle Myers and I am delighted to say that today I'm joined by the wonderful Caroline, who is founder of Parents in Mind, which is a wonderful new organisation, isn't it, Caroline, that you're a few weeks into, or a few months now?
3 months.
3 months.
I literally launched it 3 months ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
excited.
You're here to tell us all about it today.
Thank you for having me.
And you're also a kind of a parent of ours as well, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've kind
absolutely.
of been through the GMT system and got so much kind of valuable information to share to all our listeners today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully it won't be as nerve-wracking as you as you
done
think
anything
it's
like
going to
this
be.
before.
Yeah, we've got our fidgets and our cup of tea and we're ready to go. So yeah, it is. It's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about you and who you
Yeah.
are for a start, and kind of what brought you to where you are today, I suppose?
Yeah, it's been a fairly long journey, but we are through the other side. But I wanted to make sure that through the journey that we've had for the last 7 years, that it didn't go without some form of legacy or help, or some good to come out of it. So a bit of background: my daughter is now 18, but during her entire high school years and college years, she has really struggled. She struggled with social interaction, she struggled with her mental health, and it's had a significant impact on her attendance at school, her confidence. And it was really kind of the change from primary school to high school was so significant, and it was really sad, to see that the Amy that I'd known before kind of just slip away and go into a shell, basically, of herself.
You feel so helpless sometimes as a parent, don't you?
100%. That's
when
it.
You can see it happening, you don't feel like there's anything you can do.
Yeah, well, you don't know even where to start with it, and your instinct as a parent is, I need to fix this. I need to fix it now, straight away. And the reality is, you've kind of got to go through the motions. And as a parent, I very much felt like I was being left to my own devices with it all. The education system and the health system, I just felt like they were constantly fighting against me. And then when you are so consumed by it, eventually it takes its toll on you as a parent. For me, it was kind of within 5 years is when I hit kind of rock bottom. Where it was affecting all aspects of my life. It was losing my hair, going on medication, eczema flaring up, having to go off on long-term sick with work. I was such a goody two-shoes at work, never late for work, never late for meetings, always there, always showed up. But these challenges, you're kind of fighting against everything that you've always done, because actually Amy came first. Yeah. So if it meant having to negotiate her into school, have a meeting with the teachers, and be an hour late to work, that had to happen. If that happened 3 times a week, it had to happen.
Did you find your employer was quite, did it work that for you? Because I don't think that's experience for, it's great if it did, but I don't think that's experience for many parents, is it?
No, it's not. And so I had a change of manager. So my first manager was amazing. Right. Very, very supportive and understanding. But my second, not so. When I was asking for things like compressed hours, because I was trying to find a way to get around this. And I'm thinking, if I can start maybe an hour later. And straight away I got hit with a no. But then I fought and looked at the policies and the HR wording and the government website and found that actually, if I word it in a certain way, and I'm doing this for my child who is dependent on me, and it's not going to affect the needs of the business and things like that, eventually it did get approved. But again, it was a fight,
right?
And actually some people probably would have just given up on that, no. But for people to know, actually, have a look and and fight your case, you know, because ultimately that did take a lot of pressure off.
Okay.
And I think if you can do things to try and take the pressure off, it helps you manage things in a different way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in a more constructive way.
Yeah.
I think getting that out there to parents to say, you know, don't be afraid to say to your employer that you're struggling,
Yeah.
and try and find solutions together to help.
Quite
make
hard
it
to admit
work.
that sometimes, isn't it, though?
That is probably one of the hardest things, isn't it? You know, even, you know, ringing the doctors and saying, I'm not coping as a parent.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I couldn't effectively be a parent to my child
Yeah.
because, you know, she wanted to do things like, I want to change schools, and I physically didn't have the ability to be able to make that decision for her because it was so huge.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know whether it was the right decision or, you know, what that would look like, whether it would be worse or better. And the enormity of that decision I couldn't make. And it took a year for me to kind of just really get myself together, get on medication, things to be a little bit clearer for me, to then go, right, I'm strong enough to make this decision. And then you feel guilty that it's taken a year of me not being strong enough, you know, to make that decision.
But you found yourself in the middle of this system almost. We use this word a lot, don't we? This system, but we really do. You know, you're talking about, you know, health and education, and it's not. It doesn't kind of link up, does it? This kind of system. It's just really, really hard, and there's no advice. You don't know how to manoeuvre it. You don't know, and you're trying to juggle work and home and everything else, and it's a really confusing, lonely, isolating place to find yourself, isn't it?
And you can't scream out to people because at the time it's a very personal journey that you're going on. You know, your child is struggling. They don't want the world to know.
No.
So you can't just scream out for the help.
No.
And then another layer of that, what you were just saying with the education and the health system, is that when your child goes to school in a different area, a council area to where you live, I didn't know that then that brought on additional challenges.
You wouldn't necessarily, would
No.
you? Because you'd just assume that, you know, things work
It's
smoothly, but they don't.
Just move kind of 5 minutes down the road to a different school, and that changes everything from the point of it's a different CAMS department, you know, it's a different council. The free counselling service that you get, she was offered it, and then she was declined it because we didn't live in the area for the council.
Wow.
You know, so she was there wanting the help and actually crying out for the help, and then they kind of like would kind of dangle it in front of her and then take it away, and then I'm having to then deal with the fallout and the consequences of that afterwards, and her just, you know, saying, well, you know, what is the point in them saying that they can do it? Oh, and it was via a text as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to kind of top it off.
Wow. Okay.
You know, straight to her, whereas they could have spoken
Straight to her.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Right.
So I couldn't even be that kind of buffer to help be there, sit her down and explain.
So unhelpful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then once again, we're then picking up the pieces.
Okay.
You know, it's an unpredictable day, isn't it? You know, every day when you wake up, you don't know what you're going to be facing. And I think that can be, for a parent, is so anxiety inducing. And it starts literally from that first waking up in the morning. Are they going to go into school?
Yeah.
And
That
then
could be
you've got
really
school
difficult,
ringing.
can't it? I think exactly the pressure. I think, you know, from society and school, and I remember feeling that I had to kind of get my son, particularly going back, you know, several years ago now, that pressure of I have to get him to school because I'm going to get in trouble if I don't, and then you've got school phoning and there's threatening with getting fined, and you're just in the middle of this going, look, you know, I would love my child to be at school, but actually they're not well enough, and again, it can be quite scary, I think, sometimes, can't it, when you're getting that pressure.
It's not helpful. It's not helpful at all. You know, for you know, all I'd get is, how are things today? Where is she? And I'm like, I've tried, but I can't. And the response was, she needs to be in. And I'm like, that is, I know,
Really
helpful. I really know that she needs to be in. I physically can't get her in, so don't really know. And I think, again, the frustrating thing is that she's so academic. Every day that she wasn't in, she was losing out on such valuable education that she was willing to do at home, but we just weren't getting the work for her to do. You know, occasionally it'd be like, oh, we've got something on Google Classroom, but there was no follow-up, there was no support. I think COVID had a big thing to do. You know, obviously she got so used to COVID and loved working from home.
Okay.
that was her happy place.
Okay.
Even, I would say, probably 2 months before COVID actually happened, I remember we'd come back from a cheerleading competition. She loves cheerleading.
Okay.
And she was on a high. Like, we'd been to America, she'd competed, and it was just incredible. And when we came back, and it was like she was invisible.
So when you came back from America, she was wanting to be homeschooled.
And I remember, like, we got in the car, and I was like, Amy, like, I work full time. I'm not a teacher. Like, it's never going to happen. Little did I know that, I mean, what are the chances that literally her wish came true? She thrived and loved COVID because she was in her comfortable, happy, safe space. So I think then going back into that school environment was just a real trigger for her. It was slowly but surely, it was obviously building before COVID, probably about 18 months before. But then after that, that's when it kind of really started taking its toll.
I think that's the thing, is that there isn't often this kind of, I mean, for some young people there is sort of one specific incident that you can kind of put it down to, and that's it, But I think for lots of children and young people, it's this kind of day after day, kind of just gets harder and harder for them, doesn't it? And
100%.
then it gets harder and harder to get them in school, and their attendance goes from 70% to 50%. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where they're just not able to access school at all.
It's a vicious circle then, isn't it? Because they've missed so much, that then that causes them more anxiety for them, because they're going to be behind, and they're not forming those, those maintaining of those relationships, with the peers at school. But I think over time she started recognising when she's in a kind of a heightened state. She could get really angry and say some things that she regrets, and she didn't want to be in that state in school because she felt like there was nowhere to go. Whereas kind of now she's so more understanding of her own self and understands her own self that she knows to take herself away from certain situations, which I think is really good.
It can feel a very unsafe place to be, I think, for young people's school, can't it?
Yeah, because there isn't any getting away, and when you're in a classroom full of people, you can't just, there'd be the exit cards and whatnot, but
even using those,
that is
be anxiety inducing.
100%.
We're both suffering with fiddle toys and fidgets today, but again, that can be something that's anxiety inducing for a young person 100%. In a classroom. So
absolutely, So I think for me, when I was in that moment, in the darkest of the days, it's like I really, really wanted there to be some form of support, somebody just to kind of be there to kind of just to help me, help steer me in the right direction, and kind of just be on our side, because again, a lot of the appointments that we would have, even with professionals, you constantly felt like they were either judging or fighting against you. So you'd sometimes come out really, really upset or disheartened by certain things. Even trying to get medication because she was under 18. You've got professionals saying she needs it, but nobody can give her it because of the waiting list, because it had to go by a psychiatrist.
And all that time, you can see you the person that you love most in the world getting more and more, poorly and deteriorating. And
I think I wrote a letter to our local MP, and the title of it was "This is nothing short of cruel."
Did you?
Yeah.
Right. Did you get a response?
Yeah, I did. But it kind of coincided with then you guys got involved.
Right.
So when Great Minds Together got involved, that changed the whole narrative, and that. I was crying out to the MP for help.
Okay.
Because I wasn't getting the help from anywhere else. And then that coincided with Cam's telling me about Great Minds Together.
Right, okay.
And then I literally was in the waiting room, logging on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that story.
I did, yeah.
Right.
So actually, before we even left, I was filling in the form.
Right.
So it was self-referral. It was free. I sent in the form. And within a couple of days, I was messaged to say somebody would be in touch with me. I didn't realise how much of a game changer it would be. The relief, so obviously I filled out the form and the appointment was arranged, and yourself and Olivia came round to the house.
I remember it well.
Yeah. Amy was upstairs, and like the first thing that you'd said to me was like, you're autistic yourself, so you understand, you know, kind of how the narrative can play out.
Yeah.
But also that there was no pressure. There was no pressure for Amy to come downstairs, you know, even if she just wanted to come down for a minute, or she didn't want to come down at all. And she did. She came down for a short period and introduced herself. But then there was also the offer of, you know, we can spend a little bit. You could spend a little bit of time with Amy, you know, working with her and going for a coffee or going for a walk. But again, there's no pressure if she didn't want to do it, you know. And I think that was a big thing, is not putting the pressure on us as a family.
Yeah.
And then it was, you set up the teams around family calls, and they were taken. So it wasn't left for me to set them up. You know, I just had to provide the email addresses of who was involved, and then you guys basically did all the legwork.
Such a simple thing, isn't it, though, just getting everybody around the table.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's when we're talking about this kind of system, often parents and carers are dealing with so many different people and none of them are talking to each other.
Yeah.
And actually one of the first things we always do when we work with the family is just, right, let's get everybody around the table. And make everybody accountable for kind of what, you know, to drive, you know, the support forward. But I think it's just sometimes about somebody going, I get it, isn't it?
100%.
I understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think there's such... Because obviously I'm a parent myself, so I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
And I think for me as a parent, that's always been one of the most kind of valuable experiences, is just when you're with someone that gets it, it just makes everything feel, I don't know, it's like relief.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you've seen it yourself at the Parents in Mind sessions.
Yes,
You know, how much emotion there is in the room, but how much relief there is that finally... You know, they didn't know how much they needed this until it was there, kind of thing. And that
tell us about Parents in Mind.
Oh my
then.
God, it's just
like so exciting.
It's really, really.
I can't
exciting.
tell you how proud I am. Honestly,
it's something that I've wanted to do for about 2.5 years, but at the time that I wanted to do it, it just wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the right time because we were right in the midst of it, you know. And obviously, it was very personal to Amy. But you know, we've got to a point now where, you know, she is on board and happy for, you know, the story to be shared to help other people, which I think is amazing in itself.
It's incredible. She's an incredible young woman.
Yeah. I'm so proud of her. It was kind of January this year, and I was just like, something was just telling me I needed to, you know, it's either now or never kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I just thought, right, let's make a plan.
Okay.
Let's get a logo. And I knew in my head what I wanted the logo to look like.
Yeah.
It took me forever to do.
Isn't it funny that you can have this massive plan of what you want to do, but then the logo.
But I am very much, it's all about the detail. So I knew what I wanted it to look like, but I'm not very good at the computers. So I was trying to, but eventually we went to Ireland for a weekend and I was sat, it was a gorgeous sunny day, had a coffee, and I was sat just designing it on Canva.
And it just
appeared.
That's the thing with these things, isn't it? When you least expect it.
Yeah.
You just take the pressure off. And
Oh
then
my
it just,
God. Yeah. I was so relieved. So
love it.
Got the logo, and then it all just kind of then started to flow. Launched myself on Facebook, just starting to spread the word, trying to gauge the interest, and
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
I've seen that.
It's amazing. But then it was like, right, let's get some funds. Let's do a bit of fundraising. So I love running.
Okay.
And I started up running to get me through everything that I was going through with Amy. It was my release. So I thought, oh, we'll do a 10K. So I roped in my husband as well.
Amazing.
He doesn't do running. He's not a runner.
Not
I was like,
oh, bless him.
So I was like, let's do this 10K in Manchester. So we did that and set up a GoFundMe page and got a grand.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that was basically our starting pot, and it's amazing how resourceful you can be with a very limited budget. You know, Facebook Marketplace.
I was super impressed with your display stands.
Yeah.
Where have you got them from?
Yeah, it's all Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. Driving to, I think it was Wigan for my for the presentation book. They're £350 brand new. I think I bought it for like £60.
I was mega impressed.
Yeah. Even down to the projector. Donated from a brownie, is just letting me borrow it, a brownie leader. One of the mums messaged me about the presentation screen. Right. There was a free one going on Thrift,
Oh,
So she messaged me, do you want this? I was like, oh my God, yeah,
Brilliant.
So actually, all the
Yeah.
little leaflet holders, Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, you can be, when you really, really put your mind to it, you can be really, really resourceful. All the merch you can get free from the charities, the pens. Yeah. But I really wanted to make the parents know how valued they are when they walk into that room. So it was really important for me that they get a little gift bag,
Yeah.
and it's a token, but there's a little self-care thing, like a little lavender kind of bath salts and a pen and a notepad so they can write some notes. But a lot of thought has gone into that. And then at the end of each session, the sessions are free, but everybody gets given a raffle ticket when they arrive. And then the guest speaker pulls out a number and they win a self-care prize. So it could be a facial or a massage or
time to do something.
Yeah. So that's my next mission, is to keep kind of reaching out to local businesses to get.
Well, if there's any listening right now, then
donations, please. Massages, facials. Yeah,
I mean, I was lucky
any
enough to be
self-care.
there at your first session, and there were so many people, Caroline, honestly.
Yeah.
And the feedback was just brilliant, and you could see everyone was so excited, and there was a real buzz about what you're doing.
Yeah. It was lovely.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
And so professional. It was like super professional. It was like a little mini expo with all your little tables and
wasn't
everything.
it?
It was brilliant.
Yeah, like a little NEC
was amazing. Yeah.
I don't do
Considering that was
things
your-
by half.
No, but I love that about you though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
all
just,
or nothing.
oh, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I just think it's incredible that you and Amy, and I think one of the most powerful things on that night was listening to Amy's voice.
Yes, when she
I mean,
read
there
out
was
that
not
letter.
a dry eye in that room.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah,
Do
it
you think
was-
she'd maybe let us share that?
Yeah,
I think
100%.
we need to get that on links to this. Honestly,
Yeah,
we'll get it linked to the
absolutely.
podcast. It was just
There wasn't
there was
a dry eye.
there was
in the
not a
place.
dry eye,
But
in the
in a
place.
way that it was because everybody resonated with it.
Mm.
And actually, it's that story of, you need to be there for this fight. I need you to kind of cling on to the rope while I lash out, and
'Cause you can feel like
while
you're
I
pushing
hate
them
you.
away.
Yeah.
They're pushing you away. Sorry,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
you? In that period of time.
And it goes back to the kind of, I have little tips and tricks for the parents, and one of them is, don't take what they're saying to you personally.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do that, and I was guilty of that. And especially if you've had a bad day yourself, you're probably even more susceptible to take it personally, aren't you?
Yeah.
But they just need to let off that steam. They need to shout or scream at somebody and just allow them to get it off their chest.
Yeah.
And it's not them being disrespectful, or it's just them releasing all of that pent up anger and frustration. And also being able to know when to both walk away,
Yeah.
because I think at the start you could be at loggerheads with each other, but now it's very much like, I know to walk away, she knows to walk away. Yeah, it's a learning curve, isn't it? That you've got to. But some of the little tips and tricks that I like to share are things like, ask for help. Ask your employer for help if you're struggling. Ask your, even like my husband, he's amazing, but I don't think he would necessarily see what was happening during the day.
No.
So we'd come home from work, and I think just for me opening up and saying, I'm really, really struggling at the minute, I need a little bit of extra help, and he was great. But all it took was for me to ask, because he wasn't really fully aware of everything that was going on throughout the day. Might come in and go, why is there no milk in the fridge? And then that would just that would send me over the edge.
Yeah.
It's just that one little thing
It
that
is usually the most ridiculous
Yeah.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it's just the icing on the
spirals
cake.
everything off. But yeah, communication as well, making sure that parents know that communication doesn't always have to just be having a chat, because not all kids want to. It could be via a text. Some kids like to text how they're feeling or what's annoying them. Or they might want to do it via a phone call, or they might want to do it via a journal. One of my friends recently, she's got a teenage daughter, and she puts a little journal under her daughter's pillow. And she'll write in it, and it could be anything. It could be something really good that's happened and what she's proud of, or it could be something that, oh, this has happened today and I was really upset, and this is how it made me feel that you did this, and you got, I don't know, a detention at school, and then she can write her response back. So it's another way to communicate.
Yeah, it's thinking outside the box sometimes, isn't it? And I think that's why groups like yours are so good, because it enables parents to speak to other parents and find out all these, you're talking about tips and tricks and things, and it's about being around people that have kind of been there and done it and tried something and when it's worked, and there's so much value in that.
100%, absolutely.
So needed.
I've learned stuff. So even with the parents that I've got that come in, there's stuff now that so for example, there's like a disability living allowance that, that could have been something that Amy could have been entitled to. And now I think it would be PIP. But I've got somebody that knows how to fill out the forms and can help with that. So if Amy needs additional support, she can get that. EHCPs, I was very naive with school, and it wasn't until it was too late that the EHCP had been mentioned. Now I naively thought an EHCP was for a child that had learning difficulties, that academically was struggling. I didn't realise that it also was for children that were emotionally struggling or had debilitating anxiety.
Neurodiversity.
Yeah, absolutely. So
But you don't know what you don't know,
exactly.
do you? Yeah. That's the thing, and I think that's why these parent groups are so valuable.
Yeah.
Because we're always learning, aren't we?
Yeah,
always.
100%.
There's always something we can learn. There's always, and I really love what you were telling me, sort of saying before about parents sort of once they feel it's about empowering, and that's kind of what we do at GMT. As much as we can, it's about empowering you with the confidence and the knowledge and the signpost. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of signposting, a little bit of an opportunity to
absolutely
just get it off your chest sometimes, and then you can kind of go off on your way and go, right, okay, I've got a bit of a renewed sense of purpose, I'm going to try this.
Absolutely.
I didn't know about that service, so I'm going to give that a go now. Just those small things can make such a huge difference. It doesn't need to be great big grand gestures all the time, does it?
No, I mean, it really resonates. It's the little phrase, and you've got it on here.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, many little people in many little places doing lots of little things. And if everybody just does something small to help these people, it's going to make a huge difference. So when you've got lots of people that are all kind of just all there for the same, and I've got parents that are wanting to help and move this forward, and there's going to be parents that will want to be guest speakers and share their lived experiences.
So I love that. So you're having guest speakers. You've got tell me about your group and what it kind of looks like. So we've got at the minute it's monthly meetings, where there's like a book borrow stand, where people can borrow kind of books on the topics that we're discussing. Then we have got free tea and coffee and biscuits. The most important bit, biscuits. I've got an information stand which has leaflets that you can take away, which are things like Great Minds Together. It's got the Autism Central leaflets. A parent that might come up to me and say, I'm really struggling because my child is being violent, what would you suggest? Straight away I can take a parent over and say, okay, CAPA first response, if you take a picture of that leaflet, they're the people that you need to go to for that, because that is their specialty. The information board, and then we've got like a feedback stand, and I've got little hearts, a little post-it hearts, so people can just write a word as to what they thought about the session, but then put a feedback form in. And the feedback forms are really like, I'm so passionate about making these sessions for the parent, for them to adapt and grow as to what they need. So at the minute, I don't know really how this is going to look in a year, because they are going to mould it. We'll get you back in a year and we'll find out, Caroline.
That'll be exciting. But they'll mould it, and they have already started moulding it, which is great. So some of the feedback was they want more time to chat, mingle and share experiences. So already I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to bring in another session that is purely for that, and workshops. So I want to do an EHCP workshop. I want to do a DLA workshop, and I can bring in the relevant people that can kind of mingle and walk around, and they can say, I'm really struggling with this, or have you got any advice on how I should go about this? And I think that they will be really, really valuable. Younger guest speakers that have they have been diagnosed through school with autism, ADHD, and they are now a young adult, and they're going into kind of their first job, and how things are going for them. And it's still very raw, their school experience. So what did it actually feel like for you going through that? Because I think it's really important for the parents to know what it's like from the child's perspective.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because they're probably not getting that from their child at the minute. They're just getting the behaviour or the kind of the repercussions, but they're not actually necessarily knowing what's going on in that. And they're all different, aren't they? You know, every child's different,
Yeah.
and one child with ADHD and another child with ADHD, they're not going to,
No.
you know, display the same.
No.
And then you've got the girls and the boys, and there's so many different layers to it.
So really exciting times ahead.
Very
I think,
exciting.
is what we're discovering.
Yeah. And being able to just get that empowerment, like you've said, that being able to advocate for themselves. One of the prime examples was when we did the TAF meetings, and knowing that you guys taking the lead on the conversation to say, during half term, Amy struggles to get back in afterwards. What's the plan? And it was like, there isn't one.
Yeah.
And actually, I was like, God, I should have known. But it's like, well,
why would you?
I know.
Yeah. Why would you know
Yeah.
that?
So it's like, no. And then once you've got somebody on your side, then the school are like, okay, we really need to be kind of stepping up our game now and making sure that we are doing things properly. And then there's the accountability, because there's another meeting, you know, in a month's time, and it's like, okay, so what's happened? How did it go? So yeah, that was so useful, and it completely changed the narrative of our journey. And I wish I'd known about you guys sooner. And this is why, again, Parents in Mind is spreading the word, and that's why you were my first guest speaker. It's so fitting, isn't it?
It was
for the very first meeting for you to come in, and for there to be that kind of connection and that real life story of how you guys helped, and you know, and how you're going to be able to then help other parents going forward.
And how you are.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Your story is incredible. You know, you kind of came, you know, through the GMT system, so to speak, but look at what you're achieving now, and look at the, you know, the families and young people that you are going to be able to help through this wonderful organisation that you know, have had the drive and passion to fundraise for and pull from nothing. Honestly,
there'll be more runs. I'll be dragging Shane along for another 10k.
You're inspirational.
Thank
I think
you.
there will be many people listening to this who will get such hope, because you know, there will be people listening to this right now that are in that place, and it is a dark place. You know, I've been there. It's not a, you know, it's not a nice place to be, and you can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel. But what you're giving people is that hope, that belief, and there absolutely is light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what I was trying to say when I was sort of chatting to the group the other week. It's really hard to see that light, but it is there. I promise, it is there.
100%, and they do need to hear that, because the future can look very, very worrying. But look at your son; he is absolutely thriving.
I know, driving me mad.
But that's what they're there for.
Exactly, far rather that, you know. He's off on a, you know, motorbike and girlfriend and job, and
and you would never ever, if somebody had said that to you in the darkest of those days when he was not leaving the house, there's no way that you would have.
Wasn't communicating, wasn't leaving the house, wasn't eating, wasn't sleeping. But at the time, you genuinely don't know what the future holds. So I love the fact that you are kind of shining that beacon and providing that space for people to come and go, do you know what, I am really struggling.
Yes.
Because that's really hard to do.
It is, as a parent.
Yeah, really, really hard to do. But much safer to do it around other parents that get it and have been there.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I think even Amy's story, she's passed the driving test. She's going to Westminster University to study law. If you had said that to me when she was at high school, I mean, the fact that we just couldn't get her in, and she was missing out on so much valuable education, but she's the most resilient and strong human being. And they say that children, neurodivergent, that they struggle with resilience. It's absolutely the opposite. They are the most resilient people.
Yeah.
The most resilient for everything that you've got to go through, day in, day out, in a society that, let's be honest, hasn't been the kindest. That there is a lot more understanding now, and we're starting to we're starting to change that, aren't we?
And you're absolutely, you know, at the forefront of that with your group, which is brilliant. So I can't wait to see. We definitely need you back in a year's time, and we need to see
how it's.
I can't wait. I
How it's
want to fast forward
progressing.
it. I can find out.
It would be
what you're at
amazing
the
if we had like little Parents in Mind support groups in like every county of the country.
Could
That
you
would just
imagine?
be amazing, just to reach out to as many people as possible.
Yeah, well, I don't doubt you will, because you are full of drive and passion, and that is clear in abundance. And like I said, I'll keep saying it, I'm blue in the face, but I am so proud of you and Amy.
Thank
It's just,
you.
it's been a privilege for me. I just was lucky enough to be able to work with you.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see where it goes.
It's
so.
it's very, very, it's a huge passion. I'm literally living and breathing this. So yeah,
I think it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, definitely. No, it is.
Well, thank you so
amazing.
much for joining me
Thank you.
today. So if parents want to find you, where's the best place for them to go?
So at the minute, it is Parents in Mind, which is the Facebook page. That will be expanding to other social media platforms.
Okay, so watch this space.
Yeah, watch the
on that.
space. But at the minute, Parents in Mind is the Facebook page.
Okay.
So yeah, click a follow on that, and all updates for parent meetings, but even like little bits of tips and tricks and support and signposting will be on there.
We can put a link to it in the
Amazing.
podcast.
Amazing. Thank you.
Brilliant. I hope it's been all right today. Not
Yes,
too
I've
bad.
enjoyed it.
Lovely.
I've loved it.
Thank you
And
for
I will be
joining
back.
us. Brilliant. Yeah, in a
Yeah.
year's time.
Yeah. Mark it in the calendar.
Yes, we will do. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of the Great Minds Together podcast. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's Great Minds Together podcast.
If you found this conversation valuable, please share it with others.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
You can learn more about our work and resources at greatmindstogether.co.uk.
And follow us on social media for regular updates.
Until next time, keep celebrating difference and driving inclusion.